All right. Hello and thanks for joining. This is a voiceover for the sketch video that you are watching right now on YouTube. If you are not aware of who I am, my name is Autumn. I am an artist. I live in Canada, and I've been meaning to make voiceover sketch videos for quite a while. So while I have the time still to do so, I will be testing this out and seeing how I like it. Seeing how you guys like it, learning how to edit also, edit out all these filler words. So yeah, that is the very basic. I am, as I said, an artist. I am trying to find an agent right now to pitch graphic novels, etc., make graphic novels. I also am hoping to work more on other things like stickers, designs, learning how to do that sort of thing. And hopefully with the sketch videos, you will see that and how I'm trying to improve upon that and improve upon other things that I'm drawing. Mostly what I will be using is Procreate, either screen recording myself doing the drawing or exporting the video, which Procreate does, which is really nice, as well as I will hopefully be learning how to use Clip Studio better in the sense that it is a comic program or help to make comics, and I would like to learn how to use it better, even though it confuses me. It's very confusing. It's not very intuitive, let's say, for my brain at least. And I was wanting to do this just to, this first video will be definitely just this first little introduction. I'll be chatting about some stuff later, but also I want to put feelers out and see what people are interested in hearing, or, if you're not interested in hearing me talk all the time, I was also thinking about just putting some music that won't get me DMCA'd and just slapping it on there, slapping it on the YouTube, calling it a day, We'll see. I like to talk, and I've wanted to do a podcast for a while as well, so this might be the happy medium for me. Who can say? And possibly, if there's interest, maybe eventually I can do, coffee talk sort of thing with guests or friends who are interested in talking with me over my sketching. Anyway, what I would like to talk about eventually, I'll probably be talking a lot about my ADHD journey, which I feel like is a big thing on the net right now. But, I have barely been diagnosed, like 2 years-ish. And so that is what I would like to talk about. And talk about positive change and positive habit building and getting over the hump of executive dysfunction problems, et cetera. That's a big one for me. I also am definitely interested in talking about just basic what's going on, or what's kind of like, I suppose you could call it commentary about things that are happening, or my opinions on certain things. I would like to talk about the genre of romance, specifically just romance. There's probably other things, other things that I could talk about, but rom-coms, romance comics, romance novels, you got it. I'm going to talk about it. That's what I like to talk about, and that's what I like to read and consume. So that's a big part of my life, and I will be talking about that, hopefully. And I used to be a barista. Maybe one day will be a barista again once I have to get off the dole and get a job again. Hopefully, this will help my expenses if I make money eventually. Who can say, that's another one, financial literacy I've been working on, so that'd be fun to talk about. But genuinely, I have a lot of general barista stories that I could tell you about, the good and the bad. And just things like that. So hopefully you will like to tune in. Hopefully this is something people will be interested in, and I will just be testing this out. I mean, as it is, I do a lot of things just because I like to do it, and if people show up, that's great. So it's not the be all end all if I only get like 2 views a video for like a year. But it would be nice to, you know, see if this is something that people are interested in and enjoy. And if it is, please let me know because, as you know, comments and retweets, etc., are the lifeblood of social media users. Anyway, today, as I go through this, I would like the topic to be about something I was I was talking about on my Twitter feed yesterday for a very, very long time, and it's still fresh in my mind. So I'm just going to go for that today. And that topic is paranormal romance. Yes, you heard me correctly. Paranormal romance, a genre within a genre. Something I really enjoy or try to enjoy, but often kicks me in the ass because it's not very good. Uh, how do you mean, you say? I assume. Um, well, here's the thing, okay? I am a huge fan of werewolf media. Any kind of werewolf media, give it to me. I will eat it up. I love werewolves. I don't think they get their due as a monster. Vampires kind of get all of the glory as far as like sexiness goes, but I feel like, you know, there's something about werewolves. There's a lot of pain there. There's a lot of like, you know, allegory and metaphor, and the thought of like three 3 days a month or whatever, that they become this like vicious monster or whatever under the full moon, and the pain that leads up to it and the pain after it. I feel like we have not explored the full potential. Humorous, romantic, tragic, horror. We have not explored the full potential of werewolves. And so I often look specifically for werewolf themed media. And werewolf romance, or I guess shifter in general. I prefer werewolves. Once we start getting into like bear shifters and like cougar shifters and ferret shifters, cat shifters, all that stuff, it's fine, but it's not my fave. And I would prefer just straight up, just give me a werewolf, you know? Where's that big old guy? But as I was saying, and this will be just as an aside, the tangents will keep happening. I'm very sorry. This is how I talk. It's an ADHD thing, but also I'm just like an insane person. So just we'll go with it. Um, Paranormal romance and werewolf media in particular is just, there's so many things that are embarrassing to read that make me feel so embarrassed. I have a physical reaction, have to put my phone down where I'm reading on the Kindle app or whatever I'm reading it on, and I have to like take a lap because it's so embarrassing that I might die, you know? Um, this is the issue. This is the biggest issue for me. I mean, there's a lot of other issues, just like uh, romance novels and romance media in general, and like the books. On one hand, it is, you know, the best-selling genre out of all the genres. You know, the readers and the writers are all voracious romance enthusiasts, which I love. But because of the intensity of the schedule of publishing of romance and the intensity of the, as I said, voraciousness of the readers, oftentimes what will happen is there's a lot of just things that are thrown at publishing and just seeing if they'll stick. And so that means, you know, for every amazing, life-changing book you get, there is a lot of slush stuff, like a lot of slush pile to get through that aren't as good or aren't as well written. You know, self-publishing as well. There's that kind of possibility of a not so well written book because there wasn't edited, etc. And this is not to say that the authors who wrote those books are bad writers. It just means that, you know, sometimes A, it's not my cup of tea, or B, it's, maybe just not a well-written book for XYZ reasons, and it is what it is. And I'm also kind of picky, so, whatever. But the embarrassment I feel when I'm trying to read a werewolf or paranormal novel, and first of all, they still do that alpha beta omega shit. Like, here, okay, I understand ABO is a big thing among the fan fiction universe. I started out really not loving it, and I still don't like it that much. But I will be honest, I've read some manga, some Japanese comic books for the uninitiated that are ABO themed. And I don't know if it's because they're comic books. I don't know if it's just the different culture and reaction to ABO, because once again, not all of them are great, but I've read a couple really good ones that really delve into the idea and the societal implications of being an alpha, being a beta, being an omega, and what that means for the people who are those factions, etc. So that being said, I really hated it for a long time, and now I'm less hateful, but in Western media, it still mostly sucks ass. So I have to be honest about that. A lot of it is not very good. And the first of all, okay, it's been debunked. The guy who told us about the ABO, alpha, beta, omega thing in wolves, like regular ass wolves, said, guys, I got it wrong. That was a captivity thing, mayhap, or something to that extent. And so it's not even real. It's not a real thing. And it's annoying. And it's just embarrassing to have, like, the way romance novels are often written is either in first person, which is not my fave. I prefer a third person narrative. I find a lot of first person is not charming enough to keep my attention, or I find that, like, because you have to narrate, like, obviously you're getting it from that first person's perspective, so you have to narrate maybe a lot more than a regular person would because you have to explain things. And just like the intensity and of which they're like, this is the alpha. He has alpha pheromones that he is alphaing around, and you cannot resist him, you sexy little omega. I hate it. Oh, it's so embarrassing. I hate it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe a little bit in the sense of, like, ooh, like a big hunky guy and, like, another person, but, like, I hate it. I really hate it. And then also there's, like, at least in the heterosexual paranormal romance, there's a lot of heterosexism, and, like, even if she is, like, a strong, cool feminist girl, like, she's still um, dominated by this guy, which is not to say that is an issue, perhaps, if that is your fantasy, but I find it, it just gives me, like, the way it's often written just gives me, like, girl boss, like girl boss feminism, and it's not really, like, you can be dominated in, like, the romance world or even in the real world, I guess, and not have it, ring so hollow, I guess you could say, is my issue. And then also there's the gay paranormal romance fiction, which I read a lot of as well. And I just really it's so embarrassing because in both genres, or both, like, sexualities of genre, the ABO stuff, and then they're just, like, sniffing each other in public. First of all, this is supposed to be a secret, and you are sniffing another man or woman in public. You are, like, giving off kid who wore, like, cat ears to school energy, okay? Cat ears and a foxtail. And I'm allowed to say that because I wore cat ears in high school, okay? But it is just giving off, like, how are you supposed to like, keeping your whole thing secret if you're going around sniffing people and being like, I ward with my deep, like, internal natural instinct to protect and dominate. Okay, first of all, wolves are great fathers. That's another thing we've learned. Wolves are, like, very good fathers. Um, Read Julie of the Wolves. I don't know what to tell you. Just like that kind of stuff. I also really hate, this is not just a paranormal fan fiction. Wow. This is not just a paranormal romance thing. It's a all around romance thing. Who growls? I'm sorry. I understand like to an extent, like I also don't like when they're like, he purred. Like people can purr, I guess. Like Eartha Kitt purred when she was Catwoman, and that like kind of like when I say that you can hear it, um, I assume. And but like purring, saying they growled or saying they purred or like any sort of animalistic sort of thing, um, it's just I it's just overused for me, and it's embarrassing and weird, and I don't like it. And once again, this is just, maybe I'm just not the target audience, and that's fine. But I would like to be a target audience for someone. I would like to have a romance novel involving werewolves where nothing is so intensely embarrassing that I want to die. Like when they do that thing where they're like marking the other wolf in public, or like, like voyeuristic, like public sex, that kind of stuff. And it's just like, ugh, maybe this is just like my upbringing, my like religious upbringing, but like every time that happens where like there's like a public marking of some sexual nature, I'm like, okay, this is too much for me. You guys got to chill. I don't know if anyone consented to see this. Like, I don't know if there's any affirmative consent here from anyone, and I think we need to talk about this real quick. Thank you. Um it's just like it's too much. And like I said, like if I were to craft a perfect werewolf romance novel in general, I want that. I definitely want that family dynamic. I love that. I love the idea of like a pack in a community, but like where no one is being like a weird freak about it, where they're like sniffing each other at the coffee shop, and like people are like, why are the foxtail people here? um like, is that guy who leads his girlfriend around on a leash? It's giving that energy. It's giving very much that energy. So yeah, family dynamics. I want that. I want more emphasis on the transformation as well. A lot of these werewolf novels are mainly shifter focused, which is a little less, ooh, it's the full moon, like time to turn into a werewolf. It's more like they can turn into a wolf whenever they want, which is fine. I like that too. But I would like to see a little more angst, or a little more like surrounding the werewolf kind of vibe, and how they work around it in like our capitalist society, and how they work around being having to take days off, or like they did that in Being Human, where they had those jobs that kind of worked with their schedule, and stuff like that. So I would like to see more actual werewolves, like for real. Maybe this is just like my underworld showing, like my obsession with underworld as a teen till now, but would love to see more forbidden werewolf vampire romance. I know I said werewolves had their time in the sun, haha, but I would also like to see more of that, because first of all, love a forbidden romance, eat that shit up. I have a lot of original fiction and sketches in my repertoire since teen years of forbidden werewolf romances. I would like to see more, like, not like family romance. Like, I would like to see more like, oh, they had to pick up a little kid who is like thrown out because they're a werewolf or something, or something like that, or like an orphan child. I don't know. I would just like to see more like pack stuff where they're like, oh no, we have to take care of this baby and fall in love. Maybe you will be seeing that also in a lot of the things that I make. So I don't want to hear about that if I make a instant family type story like 3 times in a row and you're like, huh, what the hell? Listen, that's what I like, and I will continue to do it. Okay? Other people might like it too. Anyway, um, so yeah, I would like to see more of that. I would like to see more, like, it's just anything that is the least embarrassing thing that they could do would be really good for me, basically. I don't want to see any I don't want to see any more thing about growling unless they turn into a wolf. You know, if they've turned into a wolf, growl all you want, babe. But when you're a human being, shut the hell up and don't growl at anyone. That's so weird. Or purr. You're a wolf who purrs. Just stuff like that. Like no more of like warring with my wolf side, or at least like if you're gonna do that, like, keep it to a minimum. Like, we all have our base like urges that we don't act on. So I think you can like chill the frick out. But also like if you were going to do that, I would like to see it more in terms of like, oh, the full moon is coming. Let's treat it like PMS, like PMDD or something. Like, let's treat it like, oh, this guy or this person or whoever is the werewolves or all the werewolves are just like to varying degrees are like, it is almost the full moon and this is how I'm reacting to it. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe that means less self control, but maybe for someone else that means pain, or maybe for someone else that means lethargy. I feel like that would be very interesting. I think everyone should listen to me. Also, and for the romance, first of all, just all the romance, let's go for it. But like I want to see more involved in the sense of like as much as I like a good like let's go like 2 chapters in they're in love. um Maybe we could do a little less like animalistic like whatever that like the vibes the animal vibes brought them together. Maybe like a little more like okay, we're talking about it and we're going slower. We're talking, like slow burn. Maybe if the other person's not a werewolf, what that means in terms of their relationship together. If the other person is a werewolf, like, I don't want to use the word mate because a lot of the culture, I guess you could say, surrounding like mate and mating in shifter and paranormal romance is also embarrassing, and I don't love it. I think it's weird. Okay, maybe that's a little mean, but like the way that I've seen it done is just like, stop, like enough. um, and like, so there's all that, right? So I would like to see, basically, I feel like what my point boils down to is I just want to see more emphasis put on romance and talking and what it means when you are together as werewolves or as a werewolf and a vampire or as like a werewolf and a witch or, anything like that. I would just be very interested in how that goes. I would love to see more of that. Thank you very much. Um, you know, and I would also just like to see, just, if anyone out here is working on a werewolf novel and you have a bunch of stuff in it that I said I hate and you're feeling a little bit like embarrassed or sad, I don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. It is what it is. What I like doesn't mean that everyone else is going to like it, but these are these are things I really think about a lot, okay? Because I'm looking for that werewolf romance fiction and I want it. I want it so bad. I want good, like for me, good, well-written werewolf romance so bad, and it is so difficult to find, my guys. It is so difficult. Um like I said, a really big one for me would be like, especially in like, because I've read stuff like the Nalini Singh books, not all of them, but quite a few. I've read a lot of just like very basic, like uh, X, like XYZ's mate, or like, just like goofy stuff like that, novellas, novels, whatever you can think of. I have probably looked for it and read it. And I just find it just there's a lot of emphasis on one embarrassing things I don't like. A lot of emphasis on stuff that is just like I find not as compelling as it could be. Which once again, especially in the novels I'm reading, it is very focused on, the sexual carnal relations of the character, which is not at all the issue I'm talking about. That is fine. Do what you want to do. I'm looking for these books for a reason. You feel me? Anyway, um, and the I just love the romance. I just love, you know, if it were slow burn, that's like really good. I think that would be awesome. But if it were like an urban fantasy as well, like I said, stop sniffing each other in public. But also it's an urban fantasy. I would like to see us divest from the cop narratives. Thank you very much. Why are there werewolf cops? Gross. Ew. ACAB. Like, let's get away from that. Thank you very much. There should be more urban conservation werewolves. Thank you. Um, there should be more, I think, just like retail worker werewolf, like shift work werewolf stories, where that's their career, like as a nighttime guard perhaps, or a daytime guard. They have it and they have to work very part-time because they have to take off X amount of days every month because they're chronically ill is the story that they use. But we all know what that means. Well, they might still be chronically ill, but the moon. Right, exactly. So urban fantasy, I feel like, could really use a little bump in that regard. There's a lot of, werewolf stuff set in like the country or like small towns, which I also enjoy a lot because that makes sense too. Like forest ranger werewolves, I think, should be more of a thing. I guess forest ranger is kind of like the cop of the forest, but anything not a real cop and anything but cops. Please God, no more cops. And I say this as someone who does like procedural dramas and is trying to divest myself from said thing. Lord help us. We need to divest ourselves. It is propaganda. They do not love us. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, forbidden romance. Hello, let's talk about that. Once again, Underworld took my little teen brain while it was cooking and really just shook it upside down. And now I am just a husk of a person who always thinks about vampire and romance. Wow, vampire werewolf romances that are forbidden, right? Good. Be so nice. I think about it all the time. I have a whole cast in a movie in my head that I've been coming up with for years. John Bernthal is a werewolf. Let's get that trending. I think he should be a werewolf in a movie. I think it would be very hot and cool and sexy of him if he did that. He is the perfect werewolf. Look at him, look at his face, look at his whole thing, and you know that I am right. Anyway, vampires and werewolves. They, once again, underworld thing, but they are, maybe there's a forbidden romance. There's like that tinge of danger. When did they meet? How did they meet? Why do they love each other? What is the vampire lore in this book? What is the werewolf lore in this book? How does that work together? Are they going to be together forever in the end? Right? Hello. I'm just an ideas guy. Let's go, guys. I think if you are, once again, if you're writing a romance novel, a paranormal romance novel, No Time Like the Present, let's go. And if you have recommendations, I have gone through a lot. I have gone through a lot of things, a lot of books. Preferably, I would like gay werewolf romance media, but I will take the hetero stuff too. anything as long as it's good and romantic, and also just in general romance novels. Hello. Yes, so that is my thesis statement, if you will, my rambling thesis statement. And I am probably extremely over the time of my sketch video that this is playing over. So if you are interested in hearing more, I will be trying to knock out a video or two once a week at the very least. If I can get myself up to 2 videos a week. Probably not likely since I am very busy with like 3,000 projects because an ADHD queen loves to keep her options open, as I'm sure some of you know. But I would like to at least do one video a week of this. And if you are interested, oh God, subscribe. Smash that like and subscribe. Oh my God. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare situation for me. Yes, thank you for being here for as long as you have, and I will see you next time.